figured out scratching their head. She goes to the library and borrows the taxes. When she had the book that she paid for in her taxes.
That's right.
And read a book and then went back and taught all the women in the department.
Yes.
Resourceful.
I thought that was so wonderful.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting there applauding for that part.
Yeah, that was absolutely fantastic.
And more of us need to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Reach back and pull people up behind us.
So when you were starting out in that particular part of your career, were there other women with you?
No.
Or you were by yourself? So
me.
you were in a man's world.
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
For most of my career, I was in a man's world. And it's still a man's world. I thought it was going to change more over time than it did. Mm-hmm. And it seemed for a while to be going up. Mm-hmm. And now it seems to be going in the other direction again.
Wow.
But when I started, there was me, a couple of other black men, and everybody else was white and male.
Because for a while there, when everybody was going to school, they were going to school for engineering degrees. Before they started closing down Lockheed and Hughes Aircraft and all of those, everybody I knew was an engineer at some point.
Really?
Yeah, especially out here. Everybody.
I didn't see that many of them.
Not women. They weren't men.
No,
women.
men either.
Oh, really?
Not that were women or men of color.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I got a couple of friends. In fact, one of my friends, he's an attorney now, and his wife was an engineer. He's an engineer. Okay. His son is an engineer. He just graduated from Howard, and he's an engineer and working. But neither one of them, Wendy Yancey, she works at DWP. She's high up in the DWP, and Vernon actually is a patent attorney now. Okay. So he's still using his engineering, but he's using it for a basis of helping people establish patents. And copyright and trademarks and that kind of stuff.
We need all of that too.
You need all of that.
Yes,
but
we do.
It's just amazing when I heard that when I met you at Bella Network at the conference. It's like, look at her. Look at her. But now you're in your second act, right?
I'm in my second act.
Okay.
And now my goal is to help as many people as possible, I don't care what color they are, who really want to enhance their careers inside organizations and have strategies for how to increase and enhance their careers, their circles of influence, their ability to get things done through others, So I coach everything from the beginning engineer level to the vice presidents in organizations. Mm-hmm. And it's all about how do you increase your level of influence, because in most of those kinds of organizations, you get a lot of work done through the efforts of others. And so you have to figure out how to get things done without doing them yourself.
Right, exactly.
And be part of the network.
Part of that networking. And networking is a valuable part of all that we do.
It is.
For all of us.
For all of us and at different levels. But, if you're within a huge corporation, Deshaun and I are kind of out here and we can kind of enter and swim and maneuver. But in a big mammoth kind of corporation that's structured,
right.
I'm sure that's a little more difficult or challenging.
Well, for me, it's the opposite, because that's all I knew for almost 40 years.
Okay.
And then I switched from that to being an entrepreneur.
So it's a challenge coming out to do what we do.
That's right.
Which would be a challenge for us to do what you do.
Right. I want to just jump in and ask Jovita a question. What brought you to this place in your life now? What is it you said, I want to help everyone, whomever, right? So what is it that brought you to where you are today?
Well, one of the things that I discovered along the way, that the higher up I got in organizations, the less fun I was having.
Oh, there's that fun word. I like that word.
Yes, and because when I first started out, it was all new and, ooh, we're going to do that? Okay. That was so much fun to me. Uh-huh. But the more political it got, and when I left, there were 200 people who worked for me, and only 4 of them were black.
Wow. Oh, wow.
But in that arena, I really liked the interaction with the other people. I was actually a coach and didn't know it. I didn't know what a coach was at the time. I think
we all kind of how I fell into it as well.
And when I discovered in a meeting what coaching was from my perspective, I said, you mean I could actually help people with their leadership and their communication skills and their ability to interact with people and get paid for it.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Now that's talking passion, huh? Yes. That's talking fun.
Ooh, okay, that sounds like fun. And so now I'm kind of the behind the scenes person, the whisperer for a lot of folks as they come up with their strategies for how to build their careers. And I like that part of coaching more so than being a life coach. So I'm an executive leadership coach.
That's right.
Which I think that we in all our different capacities.
Nice.
Which is what was interesting about when we all came, when Alicia Matson White brought us together.
Right.
It was absolutely amazing that we had 20 coaches and
we were
none
all
of us
different.
overlapped.
Yes.
That's just was absolutely amazing to me.
Absolutely.
And Alicia was on the show about 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she was. In fact, I had a guest come on, and she got sick the night before, and I had to have somebody like that. I put out a call at 11 o'clock at night.
Wow.
And Alicia called. She goes, "I can do it. I can do it." So she came.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
So it was really fantastic. So that's sisters. That's the Bellas,
That's
right?
right.
It really is. That is a great network, and I'm not really haven't been a part of many women's networks, but I really like that one. And I actually saw her last night. We were at a Black Women Founders event.
Oh, wow! Okay.
At Google.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah, see, Alicia, she treads amongst some real high-powered individuals.
Yes,
she does. Another reason to be part of the Bellas.
That's right. That's
you
right.
just don't get to walk off from Black founders of Google. I mean, come on.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was really
Did you enjoy it?
Oh, yeah. I go to any kind of technical event that I can because I'm still a person who wants to be on the cutting edge and figure out where things are headed and where we need to go next.
Okay.
As opposed to where we've been.
Now, her sister is in that industry. She does something. She does something with the legalities, I think.
She was at the conference.
Sean White. So Alicia White Matson. Yeah, she's something she does with the legalities.
I'm not sure what she does.
You're right. It was legal.
Yeah, she travels all over the world.
She sure
does.
She was going to D.C. or something after the Bella
conference. And I think she's been in. She was in Israel not long ago, and she was in Dubai because she's on my. I think she and I are Facebook friends.
Okay.
Yeah, so they all have. You guys, so right now, where you are in engineering or chemist, it's kind of overlapping anyway into technology because that's just the nature of where we are. I mean, and with Elon Musk talking about. The first flight to Moon or Mars or wherever.
With paying customers.
Goodness. I don't know if I want to be on that flight.
Well, I wouldn't want to be on the first one, but I might want to be on one somewhere down the line.
I don't want to be. I'm not going out of... No, that's too far for me. That's just,
I actually think there's some people that might need to be, since they're since they're not happy with all of the people down here.
They need to be sent.
I'm thinking they should go there. What do you think?
Them send them right there.
They can go. They can create their whole. Goodness. They can create their whole space with just themselves.
Right.
And all those other little Martians that are out there with them. Then those will be the immigrants. They'll be the immigrants. Invade their territory for a change.
Oh, that's funny.
So, ladies, some of the talking points I wanted to talk about. What do you guys think are the key strategies that women can use in order to reach their full potential? When we're talking to our clients, and even how we apply that to ourselves.
I have the first thing I like to say is I hate it when I see women say things like, I don't know if this is right or not, but, and then they say what they want to say. So they discount what they are, the points they're trying to make before they even make them. And what you are effectively doing is telling people, you don't have to listen to me because I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's a good point.
Yeah, well, women have been conditioned to apologize.
And we have to stop that.
For everything. And that's what that is, Jovita, right? We immediately say, oh, I'm sorry, or excuse me, or this may not be, and that's a conditioning.
Yeah.
And so that's the first thing I hear you saying, right? Let's lose that conditioning of I need to be apologetic for the very thing that I know.
Right.
For what I'm feeling, for what I want to do.
Yes.
Stop acting like I don't know what I know.
Right.
And you have to know what you know, but you have to do it in such a way that you aren't being aggressive.
Yeah.
You're being more assertive.
Right.
But you do have to make sure that you get your point across. So in my coaching, I still have a lot of the same kinds of issues that you guys have, but I'm looking at it from the standpoint of how do you make your mark in the organizations that you want to make, or if you were a founder in a company, you have to be the vision of the company. And how do you do that? So it's more from the standpoint of, how do I make an impact on this organization in such a way that I'm respected?
Yeah.
It's not about being liked. It's about being respected.
Yeah, exactly. And when you look at, we'll take number 45, but in his business, and just the way he does business, it would be very difficult. And I left corporate America, probably about 30 years ago, because I just couldn't pay I don't do well in those kind of politics.
Yeah.
And I don't do well with people making me feel like I have to suppress what I know. And that was what I found very challenging was, it was so amazing when I left corporate America, and I was in the financial industry, so I was a financial planner, but I also developed my skill sets because my bag of tricks are important. I got to take my bag of tricks wherever I need to go. So I had developed many bags of tricks during that time. But when I left corporate America, my skills and my value was always, they were always trying to push me down and keep me, put me in a little box, right? When I left, then the respect I required that I received as a consultant was vast to what is the same stuff. It was the same knowledge that they're now reaching out to me to provide to them as a consultant. But when I was an employee, none of my knowledge had any value to them.
Yes.
And it depends on where you are.
Yeah.
And so, yes, that's true in a lot of cases, but there are also ways to increase your value and to make them respect that.
Right, exactly. And in my field, it was very competitive, mostly males. And then I just realized, and I had a entrepreneurial spirit, but I had so many friends that stayed put in those kind of environments, and they were having the same issues or feeling the same struggles and didn't know how to deal with it. So consequently, they hated their jobs or they moved frequently,
right,
trying to find that right place, right, and it kept coming right back to that same me. I just if I go out on my own, then I can do my own thing, and I will get the respect just based upon the work and the value of how I market myself and brand myself.
Interesting, you just said market yourself, because earlier Jovita just said a woman definitely needs to be assertive, but not aggressive. Another conditioning that we have been taught, right, that as a woman, you still want to there's a sign in my office at home that says, be the boss, but act like a lady.
Yes.
Right? Be the boss, but act like a lady. And women have been misinterpreted, right, when we are being assertive for being aggressive. And then that B word is then labeled on us, right? That you're
exactly.
Right. But a man, if he's strong and aggressive, right, it's okay. So where do we, Jovita, find that balance? I ask you that because you had to deal for a huge part of your life with being in a male-dominating career, atmosphere, profession, industry. How did you say, here I am, see me, without them saying you were being aggressive, yet you were being assertive?
I was really diplomatic. And I paid real close attention to what was going on around me and who were the players and what you could do in order to enhance your career without being a bitch and without falling on your sword and and groveling, because I'm not a groveler.
There's nobody at this table that are grovelers.
Right.
But yes, you're right. I don't think there's any Bellas that are
ain't no Bellas that are good. That probably, without even Alicia even making that a criteria, that's probably innately a criteria. Ain't no grovels in this group. We some power women, man.
Right, power brokers. Honey.
Right,
yes.
right, exactly.
Yes.
No, I will have to ask her that question because I don't think so. Not from the women I've met thus far.
None of the ones I've met so far have been either. In fact, I wish I had met more women like these when I was coming up, because most of them weren't.
Right.
Yeah, because they were probably more, what Deshaun was saying, they were more conditioned to trying to stay in the background.
And trying to help make you stay there too, if they could.
Right, exactly. Because you couldn't, if you started to stretch out. And that I did encounter.
That's right.
Absolutely.
If you start to stretch out and start to, your wings and flap your wings, right, and be the peacock. Oh no,
I am a peacock.
Right,
Ooh, you better say that, Jovita. Say it.
I am a peacock.
You are a peacock. So am I. I'm a unicorn, honey.
Yeah.
Very much so. Yes.
I'm more like an eagle. Boy, I like to fly and I like to observe.
Soar.
Well, see, I do that too, because I pay close attention to what's going on around me, and I don't always say something until I feel it's worth saying. So I'm not just a talker.
Yeah, so you observe what's
going
on.
And then I try and strategically decide what I want to do next.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would be one of the potentials, being able to identify who you are as a person, as a woman, and without the encumberment of your spouse or your children. But this is who I am.
I am.
And I'm proud of that. I know when I was growing up, my mom was one of those individuals that encouraged you to be the best that you could be, and to pat yourself on the back, and to always go and do everything that you did with excellence.
Absolutely.
That was
Mine
important
too.
for her. Everything with excellence. And so you see those characteristics in your work patterns and your work ethics, right? Because it's not about, even when I worked for someone, it wasn't about whether I was doing a good job for them. It was whether I was doing a good job for me, and I was making me proud first.
Yes. Absolutely.
So I wasn't going to do a shabby job. Whereas in today's world, the new millennials, I don't know what happened, but they didn't quite get those same training that we got, or wherever we acquired that from. Probably we had to have gotten it from our parents.
Well, I think it was really a different time, and we were pushed to be excellent, at least when I was coming up. And I'm not sure what happened to that, because I don't really see the same level of excellence showing up in a lot of the younger people. But I think they have potential.
Right, I think it's
some of them really do.
Yes.
But then, I'm sure our
said
parents,
the young people have potential, and it was almost like a question mark. They have potential.
Oh.
I have met some really sharp young folks that I can see making a real mark on the world. And I have also seen quite a few who are satisfied with mediocrity.
Oh, absolutely.
And I hate that.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of our young people, we call them, do we...
And you're teaching, so you see it from a different...
I see it from
I've taught too.
Today,
and I understand.
These millennials, boy, I tell you, they have such a sense of entitlement.
Yeah, that's the biggest consensus I've heard about them.
It is a huge sense of, and they don't even understand that that's not always a healthy thing.
Right.
They don't get that it isn't healthy, and they don't get the balance of not, believing that I need to work for something or collaborate with someone else.
Yeah.
They just get you should be giving it to me. It should be afforded to me. And then they have no patience in waiting for something to happen. I mean, they are really quick to say, why can't I? Why? Mm-hmm. And they're not quite sure why the answer is not always in their favor.
And it's interesting because even if you had that at home when you were growing up, that would obviously